Hi, John McElroy here, talking all things automotive. This video is going to be all about grading the different automakers on how well or how poorly they're doing selling electric cars in the American market. It's the EV report card. Some of the sales numbers are going to shock you, both by how good they look and by how bad they are. It all depends on which automakers you're talking about. So let's go through the sales numbers for the first half of 2022 for the 20 different car companies that operate in the U.S. market, including traditional automakers and the EV startups. And we start out at the top of the class with Tesla. I'm giving it an A+, the highest grade that I'm giving out with this report card. That's because Tesla is the leader of the pack and by a wide margin. It sold 215,360 cars in the first 6 months of the year, which was up nearly 68%, even though the total U.S. market was down 18%. No one else even comes close, and that's because Tesla owns 68% of the total EV segment. But as other automakers start to ramp up their EV sales, and I'll show you who they are in a moment, they're taking market share away from Tesla. In June alone, Tesla's market share fell by 2 full percentage points to 66%. And it's going to lose a lot more market share in the next couple of years as others really ramp up their sales. Why am I so sure in saying this? Because it's a mathematical inevitability. All market share has to add up to 100%. And as more players come into the segment, Tesla will end up with a smaller slice of the pie. Of course, as long as the EV pie keeps getting bigger and Tesla continues to grow its sales, it's not going to worry about that. Number 2 on the list is the Hyundai Group, including Hyundai and Kia and Genesis. And I give them an A. Look at that jump in sales, up 321%. Nearly 1 out of 10 cars that the group sells is an EV. And the credit goes to the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6. Those are 2 terrific EVs that I think are going to gain even more momentum as more people get exposed to them. And when Hyundai's Ioniq 6 hits the market next year, it's going to turbocharge that effort. Ford is in 3rd place in the EV sales race, thanks to the Mach-E, the F-150 Lightning, and the E-Transit van. In fact, as much praise as I heaped on the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6, the Mach-E actually outsold them. The Mach-E is the best-selling EV that's not a Tesla, and it's probably going to outsell the Model S before the year is out. Even so, I'm only giving Ford a B+, and that's because EVs only account for 2.6% of Ford's total sales. That's less than a third of what the Hyundai Group has achieved. In 4th place comes the Volkswagen Group, which includes Audi, Porsche, and the VW brand. Audi is doing a pretty good job with the e-tron. Sales were up 14% in the first half, but the Porsche Taycan was down 17%. Now, that might be due to inventory problems. Ward's Intelligence says inventory of the Taycan is down 56% from last year. But the real shocker is with the Volkswagen ID.4. Sales are plummeting. They're down nearly 30% so far this year. And it's not an inventory problem. Get this, Volkswagen has 153 days of inventory of the ID.4. And that's got to be setting off alarm bells at VW. The ID.4 isn't selling very well in China, and the Fiat 500e is outselling it in Europe. And for all those reasons, I'm giving the VW Group a C-. Next automaker on the list came as a complete shock to me, Volvo. That includes Polestar, of course, but I was really impressed to see little old Volvo punching so far above its weight. EV sales were up 197%, and EVs account for over 15% of its total sales, which is the highest for any traditional automaker. This bodes really well for Volvo as it transitions to become an EV-only brand from 2025 onward. That's why I gave it an A. General Motors is in 6th place in the EV sales race, and the numbers don't look very good. They're down more than 60% from a year ago. But that's because GM only just resumed selling the Bolt, and the Hummer EV and the Cadillac Lyriq are in a very slow ramp-up phase. The good news is that The Bolt is recovering quickly. It's the 9th best-selling EV right now, and it should easily surpass the Nissan Leaf and Audi e-tron in the next few months. Even so, at this snapshot in time, General Motors only deserves a D for the numbers that it's posted in the first half of the year. And the same goes for Nissan. Sales of the Leaf are down, and Nissan is getting rid of it. Inventory is down 97%. There's only 2 days' worth of inventory of Leafs at dealerships. Sure looks like Nissan is clearing the decks for the Ariya, which is going to come out later this year. You know, poor Nissan. It was an EV leader when the Leaf came out over a decade ago, but it sure squandered that lead, and I give it a D. Next up is Rivian, which is struggling with all kinds of production issues and can't make a lot of vehicles. The good news is, it is producing all 3 of its models, the R1T, the R1S, and its delivery van for Amazon. Even so, I only give it a C for now, with the expectations it's going to improve in the second half of the year. Then comes Mercedes, which is kind of surprising because the only EV it sells is the EQS, and that one starts at over $100,000. And yet, that one model outsold BMW, which has been in the EV game since 2013 when it launched the i3. But like Nissan, BMW squandered its early EV efforts. The i3 is out of production, and the iX and Mini Cooper EV have not exactly set the sales charts on fire. I give Mercedes a C- and BMW a D. Lucid is in 11th place. It's another startup that's struggling with production problems. And while I love driving the Lucid Air and think this company has a lot of potential, I have to grade it on the numbers it's posted, and that's why I only give it a C. Next up, Mazda, which is only selling a compliance car, the MX30. It's only sold in California and has a minuscule driving range, only 100 miles. What a half-hearted effort. I'm tempted to give Mazda an F, but at least it's got some skin in the game, so I'm giving it a D. Jaguar is even further behind Mazda, even though its EV, the I-Pace, has been in the market for nearly 4 years. This is another one of those situations that should be setting off alarm bells. Sales are down 58%. Remember, Jaguar supposedly is only going to sell electric cars by 2025, so this does not bode well. The I-Pace looks like it's nailed to the showroom floor, and that's why I give Jag a D-. The last automaker that has any skin in the EV game is Toyota. It's just getting started with the BZ4X, which to me looks like another compliance car. I give Toyota a D-. And that leaves 4 other OEMs on the list, and they all get an F. Honda, Subaru, Stellantis, and Mitsubishi did not sell one battery electric vehicle in the first half of the year. And yeah, I know, Subaru has a rebadged version of Toyota's BZ4X coming, and that Mitsu sells PHEVs. But too bad. This is an EV report card, and if you're not in the EV game, you get an F. So there you got it, the EV report card for the first half of the year. No doubt we're going to see a lot of changes by the end of the year, and I'll do another report card then. And by the way, you're not going to find any of this kind of information or analysis anywhere else in the world. So if you'd like to see more videos like this one coming, I encourage you to subscribe to the Autoline channel.